Hello, so my group will be presenting on the macronutrient diet. And my group includes Emily, Christina, and Trish Ann. So an introduction to the macronutrient diet. So there's a number of ways to assess calories on a daily basis. And many Americans turn to applications such as MyFitnessPal to track their daily calorie intake. But when you take a closer look, there are much more intricate ways than just merely counting calories. And this is where the macronutrient diet comes into play. So there are three macronutrients: fat, protein, and carbohydrates, and they provide energy and vital components to life. So fats are formed from glycerol and fatty acids, while protein is a combination of various amino acids. And carbohydrates are either a single monosaccharide or a chain of connected monosaccharides. And in order to maintain good health, a combination of these three macronutrients is necessary for the human diet. And now a little bit of background.
Hi guys, my name is Christina. Now I'll be going over some background information on obesity. There are genetic, epigenetic, and environmental factors involved in obesity, but it's ultimately caused by long-term imbalance of consumed calories and used calories. Obesity can be caused by a single gene mutation, and these mutations cause a disruption of the regulatory system for appetite and weight. The system involves hormonal signals such as ghrelin, leptin, and insulin, and they're sensed by receptors located in the arcuate nucleus of the hypothalamus. And then you have neurodevelopmental abnormalities and other organ or system malformations that are caused by a single gene or a chromosomal region that includes several genes. Someone who has several of these genes will have increased hunger levels, reduced satiety, and increased tendency to store body fat and be sedentary. And this ultimately leads to severe obesity. From the year 2000 to 2018, the prevalence of obesity has increased 30.5% to 42.4%, and the prevalence of severe obesity has increased from 4.7% to 9.2%. The prevalence of obesity has imposed an economic burden on the United States. In 2008, the estimated annual medical cost for obesity was $147 billion. And compared to individuals with a healthy weight, those with obesity spent about $1,400 more in medical costs. Many obesity-related conditions are leading causes of preventable premature death. These conditions include stroke, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and certain types of cancers. And these conditions can be delayed or reversed with weight loss, and even modest weight loss can cause or can provide benefits and decrease risk factors for diseases related to obesity. But weight loss efforts are often unsuccessful because many people think of it as a short-term thing and they fail to recognize the need for making long-term lifestyle changes. According to Weston Hofer, the cognitive restraint needed for successful weight loss is classified into two categories: rigid control and flexible control. Someone with rigid control will have a dichotomous mindset, so they'll switch their diet on and off. If they ate something they weren't supposed to for that day, they'll just throw off their diet and then they'll go back on the diet the next day. In contrast, someone with flexible control will be able to adjust their diet without the compensatory behaviors. As a result, they'll be able to achieve successful weight loss and experience less frequent and less severe binge eating episodes. And since you guys are young weightlifters, you probably know about the If It Fits Your Macros diet. But if you don't know about it, it's a diet that's often practiced by bodybuilders and weight trainers that want to improve their physique. It's a dieting system focused on maintaining macronutrient intake. There's less regard for the quality of foods consumed, so a carb's a carb, a fat's a fat. The individual can design their diet according to preferences, their lifestyle, and spontaneous occurrences, as long as they meet their macronutrient goals for the day. Someone who practices this diet may choose empty calories over nutrient-dense options, so they'll end up with a less nutritious diet. They may also have inadequate micronutrient intake from not incorporating fruits and vegetables enough into their diet. And if the individual is consuming too many low quality proteins, they won't, they'll be under consuming the key essential amino acids that are needed to grow their muscles. So all of this diet is very flexible, and you can eat many of your favorite foods. It can be one that's detrimental to your health if there's not a good balance. And then now we're moving on to Natalia with the pros and cons.
So I'll be covering the benefits of a macronutrient diet. There's three major pros, the first being flexibility, the second is its unrestrictedness, and the third is the long-term utilization. So the macronutrient diet is flexible, and individuals following the diet may choose amongst a variety of food. The macronutrient diet does not restrict any food, even foods that are high in fat or high in sugars, such as pizza or cake. And additionally, the manipulation of each macronutrient ratio allows for a more tailored diet for each individual and their individual needs. So I wanted to give a few examples. So the first is if an individual is focused on endurance sports, such as marathon running, they may have a higher carbohydrate intake. And in contrast, an individual who lives a more sedentary lifestyle will not require such a high carbohydrate intake. So the second pro is its unrestrictedness. It's definitely a highlight of the macronutrient diet. So when it comes to obesity, there are a variety of potential weight loss treatments. Individuals often find it difficult or daring to completely cut out certain foods, especially those foods that they enjoy, and this may hinder their weight loss. So the macronutrient diet really aids with this challenge. And in conjunction with reducing overall calories, individuals may use the macronutrient diet to reach their goals. So in 2020, Champagne et al. Conducted a randomized clinical trial over a 2-year period. And what the study investigated was the effects of 4 calorie restrictive diets of differing macronutrient ratios on weight loss in adults with obesity. So the participants in the study received one of 4 diets. And at the end of the study, the data revealed that reducing calories despite macronutrient ratio can reduce body weight. Thus, obese individuals may tailor their macronutrient composition to a ratio that benefits them the greatest without avoiding certain foods, especially those that they enjoy. And the third and final benefit of the macronutrient diet is its long-term utilization. So successful weight loss related to obesity often occurs over a long time frame, and it usually occurs very slowly. So with many diets, it's highly unfeasible for an individual to maintain that diet for such a long period of time. But with the macronutrient diet, this is no longer an issue. The macronutrient diet has the ability to be utilized over a long period of time and is extremely beneficial as a potential weight loss treatment for obesity. So just as there's benefits to the macronutrient diet, there's also disadvantages as well. There are two main disadvantages. The first is its excess flexibility, and the second is its time-consuming nature. So since there's no restriction on food options for the macronutrient diet, unhealthy foods such as things that are high in fat or high in sugar, options like pizza or cake could potentially fit into an individual's diet. And while there's guidelines for macronutrient compositions, an individual really has the responsibility of setting their own desired ratios. So in theory, the proportion of fat compared to carbohydrates and proteins can be substantially higher. And it's seen in the literature that frequent compositions of sugars and fats seem to be contributors to obesity. So the excess flexibility with the macronutrient diet may eventually harm an individual's health. So besides its excess flexibility, its time-consuming nature is also a disadvantage of the macronutrient diet. So counting macros requires an individual to record all three macronutrients and maintain their percentages within defined limits. And this additional step of calculating each macronutrient takes time and may accumulate over the day, deterring an individual from following the diet. So since the macronutrient diet has both positive as well as negative components, it's vital to assess if it's the right fit for each individual person.
So in these next few slides, I'll be discussing conclusions and recommendations from our research. The implications of macronutrient roles in our diet have shifted over periods of time. Moreover, questions remain regarding the ideal balance between various sources of energy for our diet, and energy balance in the form of specific diets has become a popular trend in this era, as some follow specific dietary guidelines to lose weight and even to prevent disease. Freire mentions that many dietary methods can result in the desired reduction in calorie consumption. However, many fad diets focus on including or excluding certain foods or nutritional categories. Additionally, Freire highlights that numerous diets have gained popularity throughout history and subsequently faded due to the lack of credible scientific backing. Freire also noted that macronutrient variations could disrupt homeostasis. Specifically, hormones, metabolism, and gut microbiome could be impacted by this diet and contribute to fat accumulation. Freire also suggests that the macronutrient diet provides weight loss advantages in the short term. However, their significant impacts on metabolism makes macros a quick start weight loss strategy rather than a long-term diet. Long-term research also suggests that a varied macronutrient ratio combined with calorie restriction in healthy diets promotes equivalent weight loss. So while alternative dietary approaches gain immense popularity and offer promising results, many questions arise when considering the best nutritional practices for health promotion. Additionally, various amounts of research and data remain conflicting as several studies have significant limitations. Specifically, there is limited understanding surrounding the human somatic cell's function. Therefore, advancing the research in all types of diet that promote health can address limitations in the data. Further research creates the potential for improving recommendations for dietary approaches that include significant and applicable evidence-based data. Overall, the macronutrient diet remains a highly followed diet practice by which some have had success. However, drawing upon various reviews of literature, Data has suggested that there is still significant research required to propose the power of any diet.
And that concludes our presentation, and here are our references.